introducing you to the future. After 120 years, the icon that changed the face of architecture forever. Google Earth reaches further than ever. And new uses for imaging technology with better outcomes for cancer treatment. The Eiffel Tower represented an architectural revolution when it featured as the centrepiece of 1889's World Fair. Its construction in the heart of the French capital, on the elegant Champ de Mars lawn, sparked controversy. Prominent Parisians railed against the tower. In an open letter written in 1887, they called for a stop to the planned construction of the useless and monstrous structure. Named after its designer, Gustave Eiffel, the tower was originally meant to be demolished after 20 years. But it slowly gained public favour and proved useful as a communications tower, escaping the wrecking ball. One of the biggest tasks in the day-to-day running of the tower is keeping it properly lit. The tower is illuminated from dusk until 1 in the morning. The tower draws around 6.7 million visitors annually, making it one of the world's top tourist attractions. The city of Paris holds a 60% stake in the tower. It has 20,000 individual sparkling lights, which flash every 2 or 3 seconds for 5 minutes every hour. Changing these light bulbs is a major production.
So for the lighting, firstly, you have the permanent lighting in yellow, which lights up at dusk until 1 in the morning. The 360 flood lamps were changed a few years ago to save energy. We now use globes which use 40% less energy than before.
More than 500 people, from welders to plumbers, security guards and cooks, work within the structure. To replace just one of the 360 floodlights, specially trained technicians don mountain climbing gear to scale the iron crossbeams. Working in pairs for safety, they are fastened to the structure by nylon climbers' cords, with their tools strapped to their belts to prevent accidents. The electricians who repair the lights cannot be scared of heights. It will sometimes take as much as an hour to replace a single spotlight. The 20,000 mini flash bulbs that make the tower sparkle throughout the night were designed for longevity and are guaranteed for 10 years. The tower's electricians and other external maintenance workers admit it takes a special kind of person to work at these heights. One said it was like mountaineering, but in the middle of a city. But it's not just the lighting that needs constant attention. The company that looks after the tower has to service the tower's hidden core of water pipes, sewage pipes, electrical cables, and fire prevention equipment. The Eiffel Tower supports 2 restaurants, one of which is currently undergoing renovation. They require 12 kilometres of water pipes. Caring for this infrastructure is essential in keeping the tower looking its best. The elevators were installed in 1899, 10 years after the tower opened. Together with the more modern elevators that go up to the 276-metre high summit observation deck, they cover the equivalent of almost 100,000 kilometres, up and down each year. Cavernous basements beneath the tower's legs house massive hydraulic motors that power the 2 visitors' elevators. 2 4,000-litre water tanks are the counterbalancers used for the elevators to the second-level landing.
Alors, à quoi servent toutes ces machines? Alors, vous avez ici les 2 contrepoids de l'ascenseur. qui donnent, alors ils sont en jaune, hein, on les voit pas parce
You cannot actually see the two counterweights of the elevators because they are up.
l'ascenseur.
They provide 70% of the running power of the elevator.
Tirer les câbles.
The two pulley systems which pull the cables provide the other 30% via the hydraulic motors.
The motor's moving parts need frequent oiling, and workers inspect them daily. Even a short half-hour breakdown of one elevator can double the length of the lines of people waiting to ride to the top. The maintenance team is dedicated to keeping the antique machinery running for as long as possible. Since January 1, 2000, every hour after dusk, the tower sparkles for 10 minutes. But recently, in a symbolic gesture, it was decided to reduce the amount of time the display lasted. A new version of Google Earth that allows users to explore the oceans, view images of the planet Mars, and watch regions of the Earth change over time was launched recently. The software is available free from Google's website.
Google Earth uses the Earth itself as an organizing metaphor, not only for visual imagery, but for all of the imagery, historical, scientific, cultural, everything you can think of, organized geospatially because it makes more sense. It's easier to use.
A new feature allows users to compare current views of a place with images from the past. For example, people can see how the largest glacier in Glacier National Park has melted over the past decade. Google Earth users can now plunge beneath the ocean's surface, explore three-dimensional images of the underwater terrain, and view articles and videos contributed by marine scientists from around the world. The new features mark a significant upgrade to Google Earth.
And now anyone in just a few minutes can compress what it's taken me 50 years to understand, and that is that the ocean really matters, that in fact the world is blue. There's a lot of talk these days about thinking green, but you have to remember that without the blue there couldn't be any green.
The idea of adding oceans came 3 years ago, when a scientist pointed out that the software was missing the water that covers almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface. More than 500 million people have downloaded Google Earth since it was launched in 2005. Researchers and organisations can purchase a more powerful version for $400. With Google Mars 3D, users can view three-dimensional satellite imagery of the red planet taken during NASA space expeditions. The new version also allows users to create narrated tours of places using the software's content and images. And another development from Google allows you to keep track of friends as effectively as it searches for information on the internet. The new software will enable people with mobile phones and other wireless devices to automatically share their whereabouts with family and friends. The feature called Latitude expands upon a tool introduced in 2007 that allows mobile phone users to check their own location on a Google map at the press of a button. The software plots a user's location, marked by a personal picture on Google's map, by relying on cell phone towers, global positioning systems, or a Wi-Fi connection to deduce their location. But because the feature raises privacy concerns, Google is doing its best to avoid a backlash by requiring each user to manually turn on the tracking software. It is also very easy to turn it off or limit access to the service. To widen the software's appeal, Google is offering a version that can be installed on personal computers as well. The computer access is designed for people who don't have a mobile phone, but still may want to keep tabs on their children or some other special person.
What time are you going to be home? Have you left work yet? Is your wife at the restaurant that you're going to meet at? Those are very common questions every day, and this is a great tool to let someone know, are you late? And so you can be more efficient with your time.
The system can follow people's travels across 27 countries. Yahoo has launched a very different social networking tool, the GPS Cycle. The bike is built with a GPS-enabled camera that takes a photo every 60 seconds, tags it according to geographical location, then uploads the pictures to a photo website. Amit Gupta runs a photography web blog and commutes to work on his GPS Cycle. He says that people stop him several times a day to ask about the technology. There are currently only 20 such bikes in North America, Europe and Asia, but Yahoo is planning to give away more through a contest on their website. The purple bikes are equipped with Nokia N95 mobile phones that upload directly to Flickr. The electronics on the bike are solar powered. Some have called it a live streaming bicycle. The camera is also connected to an accelerometer, so it knows when the bike starts to move. Amit says he likes the record of his life from the bicycle's point of view. A GPS map allows users to follow the rider's travels, and it's easy to view the picture of the location indicated on the map.
You know, we thought that people might be a little bit hesitant at first once they got their bikes, like, oh, I don't know if people want to see sort of where I go throughout my day, but people have been loving it, and you know, it's just a very unique and different way that people are expressing themselves through something as simple as hopping on a bike and, you know, showing the images that they see throughout their day.
Uncommon Projects was responsible for developing the underlying technology that makes the bikes work. The bikes were shipped to 12 countries, including Tanzania, Denmark, Japan, Lebanon and England. Each bike is weatherproof and works for up to 2 weeks on a single charge. There are plans for a version 2 and a DIY kit so people can set up their own bike.
It's capturing all these serendipitous moments that I'm not even aware of, things it's seeing I don't even see, and it's just kind of cool to go through the photos afterward and kind of see my life through this bike's point of view.
Although the modified bikes are not for sale, the developmental research, fabrication files and source code have been freely shared for anyone to use and modify. So if you see a purple bicycle, smile. Dry lake bed in the Californian desert, researchers are using sophisticated unmanned aircraft to gather data about atmospheric pollution that could be contributing to global warming to a far greater extent than has previously been imagined. When the scientists speak of carbon emissions, they generally mean carbon dioxide, but carbon particles, soot, may be responsible for huge amounts of heat retention in the atmosphere. The unmanned aerial vehicles gather meteorological and air pollution data as they fly through clouds and smog in the Southern California skies. Soot and ozone are the major components of the smog that hangs over Los Angeles.
The fact that greenhouse gases are acting like a blanket and heating the planet is well known and well understood. What is not well known is the fact that these soot particles are contributing as much as 50 to 60% to the global warming. That is new knowledge.
The lightweight UAVs can only handle a 5-kilogram payload, so the sophisticated sensing equipment needed for the study had to be miniaturized. The flights typically last about 5 hours and are fully autonomous. The researchers from the Scripps Institute of Atmospheric and Climate Sciences plan monthly UAV flights, which will provide unprecedented data for evaluating how long-range movements of pollutants including ozone and soot from around the globe, mix with local pollution and influence the air quality and regional climate.
Through using this unmanned aircraft, we reduce that cost by a factor of 10 to 100. So suddenly, observing how we as human beings are changing the planet has become more affordable. And that's given me hope that we can reduce the uncertainties and the controversy sooner. We got to do it soon because the climate change is happening.
A study published in the journal Nature highlighted the newly discovered major contribution to global warming from soot because the black carbon particles absorb heat from sunlight and then radiate the heat back into the atmosphere. This is a different heating method from greenhouse gases, which heat from their blanketing effect. These particles come from diesel combustion, agricultural biomass burning, the use of wood stoves, and the use of coal.
It's a bad news that there is one other way we are impacting the global warming, but it's also a good news because the soot is what we call short-lived. It just stays in the atmosphere for 10 days. And we also know how to cut down the soot emission. For example, soot emission from US and UK and other parts have come down by a factor of 2 in the last 30, 40 years. So we have the technology to reduce it. So if you reduce the soot emission even further, we can buy the planet at least 10, 20 years' time to deal with the sea carbon dioxide issue.
Until now, calls for the reduction of particulate pollution were based on its adverse health effects. By collecting data on the movement and persistence of atmospheric soot, scientists will have an even stronger basis to push for greater reductions in soot emissions. Asimo, Honda's continually evolving humanoid robot. The recent Robo Japan show is the showcase for world robotics, a growing industry that already earns billions every year. From the Chiba Institute, this four-legged robot is designed to carry a person across rough terrain. Known as Hyperion 4, the prototype is one of a growing category of robots tailored to the needs of humans. The market for lifestyle-related robots is expected to reach 7.2 trillion yen by 2025. Croino, created by Robo Garage, has a monocoque frame made of carbon and plastic and uses a new ShinWalk technology that allows him to walk more naturally than the other robots. He can be radio or PC controlled. From Futaba Electronics, two REF-60A dancing robots. They coordinate their movements via Bluetooth technology. Wakamaru is a sophisticated robot with vision, auditory and touch sensors. Its maker, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, has announced that the humanoid communication robot is now available for rent. The C3 receptionist robot relies on face recognition technology and a touch panel display to interact with visitors. While companies were presenting prototype robots, robotic enthusiasts nearby were watching the Robo One battle competition. Over 130 robotic enthusiasts, ranging from teens to seniors from Japan, Korea and India, participated in the two-day fighting tournament. Homemade two-legged humanoid-type robots fight for the title. Only 32 robots made it into the final rounds for the lightweight and heavyweight classes. One winner from each category receives 100 million yen, but generally the prize money is nowhere near enough to cover the cost of building the robot. The lightest participating robot weighs 3 kilograms, and the heaviest is 18 kilograms, standing 1.5 meters tall. There is still a need to firm up the rules of the competition, as participants are more concerned with creating something awe-inspiring than playing fair. Some of the competitors seem to be rather mismatched. Even so, the thing about robots is they just don't know how to give up. And in a different scenario, this robot is pitted against a human. Designed to help night watchmen, the robot called T-34 was unveiled recently by the Timsuk company. It has a camera which relays images to a designated mobile phone. If the robot meets with an intruder, the holder of the mobile phone can then instruct the robot to give out a warning. If the trespasser refuses to listen, the T-34 can launch a net to entangle the person. The robot can be programmed to patrol a building and phone in if it meets someone who should not be there. The weighted net is released at the command of a human and is designed to slow down any escape.
I didn't know what was happening when the net was launched. My head turned blank, and before you know it, I was entangled inside the net. If I were a real robber, I would seriously be surprised.
The designers say it is the first robot made that has adopted offensive measures to protect people in buildings against burglars. It is unclear when the security robot will be available commercially, but the company hopes to be able to put it on the market within a year. There are already some security robots, but these are expensive, and the creators of the T-34 say its cost will be much lower. The need for such mechanical help is expected to grow in Japan. 6 months ago, 59-year-old Wendy Hogg, a London teacher, discovered a lump in her breast. Hospital tests confirmed the lump as cancer, and Wendy had to have chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a difficult treatment with severe side effects, so here at Imperial College, doctors are using scanners to monitor her treatment.
It's the equipment, is the radio tracers, is the new technology to be able to visualize, see what's happening in the patient's tumor, and be able to understand how drugs work in that tumor. And that ability to see exactly what's happening inside a patient is what makes the difference. It means that we can see whether the patient has disease, what the extent of that disease is, and you can then properly stratify the patient to a particular type of treatment.
In order for the tumour to show up on a scan, a safe dose of a mildly radioactive drug is injected into the body, usually through a vein in the arm. It works by emitting nuclear material, which gets trapped in the tumour, and which in turn is revealed by detectors inside the scanner. After just 2 weeks of treatment, doctors were able to identify that chemotherapy had shrunk Wendy Hogg's tumour enough for them to remove the rest of it with surgery.
This lady, we could detect a 20% change in the uptake of the tracer before and after treatment. And that's what's so important and to know, because it has been shown that if patients do respond early to treatment, and which can be demonstrated in this case, as in this case, then it does lead to improvement in survival and also better response to future therapy as well.
Normally this diagnosis would have taken 3 months, meaning Wendy's body would have had to suffer the side effects of chemotherapy for much longer. The charity Cancer Research UK is so enthusiastic about the possibilities of imaging technology that it is helping to fund a research program in partnership with Imperial College.